Happening now on Grid Tonight. Two powerhouse organizations have joined forces in IMSA. What does the new partnership with Andretti Autosport mean for the future of Wayne Taylor Racing? Gradient Racing will run full-time this year in IMSA's GTD category. Who are the two female drivers who will make up the full-season driver pairing? Hello to all of our viewers watching here in the United States and around the world. Welcome to Grid Tonight, your weekly motorsports news program, our very first show of this 2023 motorsports season. I'm Kobe Lambert from the Podium Finish, and with me is Joshua Birch. We encourage everyone to comment in the chat below and ask any questions you may have. Now, Josh, take it away with our top story this evening.
Thank you, Kobe. Hello, everybody. And our top story tonight. In the last couple of years, Michael Andretti has been actively exploring ways to get a factory prototype operation competing for overall wins in sports car racing. It's been known that Andretti was in talks to potentially field Alpine's LMDH program in IMSA, which is expected to debut in 2024. Instead, they've decided to go with a manufacturer they're very familiar with by teaming up with Acura. Now, Andretti is forming a long-term partnership with Wayne Taylor in IMSA, and the team is being called Wayne Taylor Racing with Andretti Autosport. They've been working together on the number 10 with Konica Mintola as well for the Acura LMDH in the IMSA's GTP category and the number 93 Harrison Contracting Company Acura NSX GT3 in the GTD. Now, we'll also see the new partnership complete in Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America. Additionally, Andretti's IMSA LMP3 program with Jarno Andretti will continue. Andretti called this the right opportunity at the right time to enter GTP with Taylor and Acura. Photo courtesy of Wayne Taylor Racing and with Andretti Autosport. Kobe, bring you in. First question of the year. How will this partnership with Andretti Autosport take Wayne Taylor Racing to the next level?
Oh, Josh, I think this will absolutely take them to the next level. They're two powerhouse organizations. Andretti Autosport, you think of them as, one of the gold standards in the IndyCar series. And when you look at Wayne Taylor Racing, they've been like one of the gold standard teams in IMSA competition. When you combine the resources that Wayne Taylor has with the resources of Andretti Autosport, you get like this mega super team. And I believe this story might have come out like right before Christmas or right afterwards. But when this story came out during the holidays, to be honest with you, I was just really surprised. This is something I didn't see coming at all. Two powerhouse motorsports organizations working together, Wayne Taylor Racing with and Andretti Autosport, and with these two teams joining forces, I think it just shows that the bar has been set even higher as we enter this new era of sports car racing, because they're going from DPI to LMDH and LMH cars, and the technology in those cars is vastly different and a massive step up from what they were running in DPI. So trying to hit the ground running with the new hybrid technology, I think it's very smart that Wayne Taylor Racing and Andretti Autosport are going to be working together here in this long-term partnership, so they can take the fight to all of the other manufacturers they're going to be racing with. I know they're going to be with they're going to be filling the Acura LMDH, the number 10 Konica Minolta car, and they're going to be going up against the likes of BMW, Porsche, and Cadillac in this Rolex 24 in Daytona. So really looking forward to seeing what Wayne Taylor Racing and Andretti Autosport can accomplish in year one.
Yeah, Andretti's been circulating a lot in the news recently as well, and we look forward to seeing how this new global Andretti is going to take the market as well. Just moving on, day-to-day IMSA operations will still remain the same this season, with the group of people Wayne Taylor Racing already had in place, as the sports car program will move over to the new Andretti global headquarters in Fishers, Indiana, which is expected to be operational in 2025. Wonder what they're trying to get from there. I wonder about 2026, that came up as well recently. Now, we'll hear from that in just a second, because with Acura GTP, LMP3, and the GTD IMSA programs, Andretti has also set a presence in the NTT Data IndyCar series, Indy NXT as well, which is now the next one down, which used to be Indy Lights, Formula E, Extreme E, Supercars, and Super Copra series in Mexico. Andretti has made it clear for quite some time as well about wanting to enter Formula One in the future. Now, this comes as FIM, that's the MotoGP one, FIA President Mohammed Ben Sulayem has asked, finally, the FIA to look into the possibility of adding new teams to the Formula One grid in coming years. Despite many conversations they've had proving their case, there's never no telling if Andretti Global will eventually make it to the pinnacle of motorsport as well. We've been having some good news in the past week about that as well, with the commission being set up. But Kobe, is the new factory Acura program a decent alternative if F1's entry becomes impossible for Andretti?
I mean, this factory Acura program, I think, is certainly a good thing for Andretti. As has been said, they've wanted to return to top flight prototype racing for a long time now, and a number of years. And when they entered that LMP3 program with Jared Andretti and IMSA, it really seems like that was the eventual goal. Get the Andretti squad back into sports car racing at this level, and now partnering with Wayne Taylor Racing, they're absolutely taking it to the next level. And I think they're setting themselves up to be very, very successful in this. I know Acura is not planning to go to Le Mans this year, but 2024 and beyond, who knows? I know Wayne Taylor would really love to go to Le Mans, Michael Andretti as well. So I'm sure in the next several years or so, we're going to see Wayne Taylor racing with Andretti Autosport, not just competing in the Rolex 24, the Mobil 1 12-hour Sebring, the Salem 6 Hours of Glen, or the Moto Petit Le Mans. We may very well see them in the twice around the clock French endurance classic, the granddaddy of them all, the 24 hours of Le Mans, and with the opportunity to win Le Mans overall. This is something that's certainly going to be very, very attractive to Andretti, and so it will certainly be a really good thing for them to have this opportunity with this prototype program. But in terms of Formula One, there's nothing that can replace the opportunity of going to Formula One. And we've had this conversation many times throughout 2022, where Andretti Autosport, just the Andretti name in general, and you, Josh, you mentioned all the Caesar and IndyCar, Indy Next, Formula E, Extreme E, Supercar, Super Copa, all of those different series. The only thing missing from Andretti is just Formula One and NASCAR. And something else I find interesting, that NASCAR is always talking about trying to find a fourth manufacturer to join Chevrolet, Ford, and Toyota. How about Acura joining NASCAR? I know some people have brought up in the past how Acura would be the perfect manufacturer for that. Now and Andretti has been linked to NASCAR in the past, and now that they're linked with Acura now in IMSA, who knows what could happen in the future. But Andretti Global, I think they deserve a great opportunity to go to Formula One. It was nice hearing the FIA president say, that they're setting up steps to evaluate adding potentially an 11th team to the grid in the future. And I understand there's certainly going to be a lot of hurdles to make that possible. Yeah, so it seems unlikely, but hopefully it will shift from unlikely to likely.
Absolutely. Looks like someone finally gave a cup of coffee to Mohammed Ben Sulayem as well after the FIA gala a couple of months ago as well. But I'm glad you brought up the comments, because I wanted to bring what Joe Samiego says in the chat room tonight. Hi, Joe. Says, could we see drivers crossover between IMSA and IndyCar? Now, the one that was popping into my head quite a bit was actually that of Romain Grosjean. Is that a possibility that we could see switching over? Can't remember if he's still with Andretti going into next season. I think he still is, isn't he?
Yes, Romain Grosjean still an Andretti driver this year, 2023. Yeah, but something that's going to complicate that started next year, because Lamborghini is going to be bringing their LMDH program, and Romain Grosjean, as we said on this program last year, he signed to be a Lamborghini factory driver. So that's something. Yeah, and this is a point I want to bring up, because this is super interesting and tricky. Grosjean's going to be in the Rolex 24 in just a couple of weeks' time, driving with the Iron Lynx and GTD Pro. to start off his Lamborghini factory contract. So next year, when Lamborghini's prototype is going to be coming to Daytona for the Rolex 24, Romain Grosjean wouldn't be able to compete with Andretti Autosport because Lamborghini would be directly competing against them. And something else that's also kind of funny. Colton Herta signed to be a BMW factory driver. So technically, Colton Herta is going to be with the Rahal group at Daytona. He's going to be competing against his IndyCar team and Andretti Autosport. So Colton Herta is gonna be going up against Michael Andretti while he's representing BMW. And in terms of the other and Andretti Autosport IndyCar drivers, Devlin DeFrancesco, who knows, I know he's run the Rolex 24 in the past. Kyle Kirkwood, he's going to be racing with Vassar Sullivan again in the number 12 Lexus in GTD. Potentially, Kirkwood could get an opportunity. And looking at the IMSA drivers, I'm not really sure. I know Louis Delatraz following. I know he's an endurance driver with Wayne Taylor Racing Andretti this year in sports cars. Delatraz, I remember watching him come up the ladder in open wheel racing and in Formula 2. I think if Delatraz wanted to go the route back to open wheel, that would be a great opportunity for him to get involved with Andretti and Ricky Taylor. A lot of people forget he tested an IndyCar with Team Penske a handful of years ago. So and whenever people are talking about getting another American driver in the Indianapolis 500, Ricky Taylor is always a name that comes up because Ricky is extremely talented.
Seems like Andretti sort of have gambled with IMSA a bit too late, and all their good drivers have already gone off to do other things as well. Will be interesting to see what their lineup will be going into 2024 as well, after they've got a season under their belts. And Adam is back with us. Hello, Adam. I don't know why I did that. I'm just sort of wandering back. I'm used to having Adam just on that side of me on the screen as well. Adam says, boldest prediction for 2023. I'll say Brock Feeney has more wins than Shane Van Gisbergen and first-time NASCAR Cup Series champion. Don't know why I said that is Shane Van Gisbergen. Is it SVG?
Yeah, Shane Van Gisbergen.
It's been a couple of months. I feel a bit rusty. But that's a bold prediction as well. I'm very much looking forward to actually. I think my boldest prediction this year will be McLaren will win at least 3 Formula 1 Grand Prix. And it will be a split between Lando Norris winning 2 and Oscar Piastri winning 1. I think that's my bold prediction this year. Have you got one yet, Kirby?
Yeah, my boldest prediction is I think Alexander Rossi is going to win the IndyCar Championship and make a shock return to the top of IndyCar in his very first year with the new air. They're not a new team, but they dropped the SP on the name. They're now they're formerly known as Aero McLaren. SP is just now known as Aero McLaren. I know it's really hard and challenging, for a driver to come on in year one and find immediate success, but it would not surprise me to see Alexander Rossi go out there and win the IndyCar Championship because we saw glimpses several times last year of the Alexander Rossi of old when we considered him one of the top 5 drivers in the NTT IndyCar series. And I think leaving the Andretti environment is going to be good for him, a breath of fresh air, and he'll be able to go into Aero McLaren and perform and show us that he still has what it takes to be a top 5 IndyCar driver. I remember last year when we were talking about where would we consider Rossi now, a lot of us said that we still put him in the top 10, and others thought, we top 15, which is if you're in the top 15 in the IndyCar series, that's not typically where you want to be.
Yeah, got to be at the top, aren't you? Especially because it's always the same 5 drivers we saw winning last season as well. So you've got to be inside the top 5, got to be consistent, got to be winning. That's something that he hasn't been for a very long time. And I'm very relieved as well it's not Aaron McLaren SP, because that means I don't have to say in commentary Schmidt Peterson anymore, which used to get very annoying if you're saying it quickly as well. Moving on then to our next story of the evening as well. Just a short show tonight as well. There's not much going on in the news, but some important things to wrap up over the Christmas break. So third story and our hot topic as well. Gradient Racing will run full-time in the IMSA WeatherTech SportsCar Championship for the first time this year. They'll enter the number 66 Acura NSX GT3 in the GTD class with sponsorship from JD Wentworth as well. Gradient enters the 2023 season with a bit of momentum after winning the final GTD race of 2022 at the Motul Petit Le Mans as well, after spending the last 2 seasons with Team Hardpoint. Catherine Legg gets the full-time drive, and her co-driver is graduating from the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge of Shanine Monk as well, is getting ready for the big step up in her racing career. Joining them for the Rolex 24 at Daytona, it's HPD factory driver Marco Farnbacher as well. Plus, long-time Grenadian driver Mark Miller will be making his return as well. Photos there courtesy of Grenadian Racing. Kobe, bring you in for a quick question as well. What should we expect in the Legg Monk drive appearing in 2023?
Well, Josh, I think this driver pairing of Captain Legg and Sheena Muck is very, very exciting. And with these sports car programs, it takes funding to get it done. And JJ Wentworth has been a really good partner of Sheena Muck, and it's nice to see her been able to take this step in her racing career, moving up to, I guess, what we call the big game. She's had some great runs in IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge, and now it's time to move up to the big WeatherTech SportsCar Championship. She's joining forces with Gradient Racing, bringing JJ Wentworth and Catherine Legg, who needs no introduction. She's really fast, and I'm sure she's very excited to go back to Acura. She's had some of her most successful sports car racing years driving for Acura when she was with Meyer Shank Racing's GTD program, when they were running the Acura NSX GT3, especially that one year when she almost won the GTD championship. And I know the last couple of years for Catherine and IMSA have been really, really challenging during her time with Team Hardpoint. A lot of things going wrong there. The program probably wasn't where it needed to be for a driver like Catherine, but going to Gradient Racing, as you mentioned, Josh, they have a lot of momentum out there in Moto Petit Le Mans. They've built quite an impressive program in the last few years or so. And I think the driver pairing of Catherine Legg and Sheena Monk is going to be really, really, really good for them, and so IMSA as well. And the drivers that they're going to be working with, Mark Miller, he's been really good for Gradient. And then Mario Farnbacher, Super Mario as people call him, he's one of the fastest drivers you can get in a GT car. So I think that driver pairing should be strong in a couple of weeks' time in the Rolex 24 at Daytona.
Bring it on. Bring on the Rolex 24. It's coming up soon as well, but not as soon as Formula E is next week as well, bringing forward the motorsport season as well. Well, like Christmas. We've had the actual Christmas. Now it's the motorsport version of Christmas with the season starts. It's brilliant. Now, for the first time this year, I'm going to introduce Matt White, who's here from Grid History.
Matt White here, wishing you a happy new year from the Grid EPI bunker, bringing you up to speed with what happened at the end of the Grid Endurance Performance Index for 2022. Before we get to that, I hope everybody had a great festive period and indeed a happy new year. As we get into January, let's look back at what happened last year in the first year, the Grid Endurance Performance Index. As we rolled out last year, it's going to be a big year in 2023, but in 2022 the champion was Raffaele Marciello, who held the lead for pretty much all of the autumn and ends up just over 100 points with the difference ahead, or just under 100 points should I say, ahead of his Mercedes-Benz teammate Jules Gounon. They teamed together to win a couple of the big races this year, and they're in action at the Abu Dhabi 12 Hours at the end of the season, which we hadn't brought you an update from last time. I popped up with an EPI update. They were in action, but they didn't score in that race. Had a non-finish along with Daniel Uncandela, who ends up 5th in the Grid EPI. Dries Van Voor and Charles Weerts were 3rd and 4th. They were the GT World Challenge Europe Sprint Cup champions again for Audi this year in the WRT team's last season as an Audi customer. They switched to BMW for this upcoming season. We mentioned Uncandela, he finished 5th. Patrick Niederhauser jumped up to 6th after some points scored at the Abu Dhabi 12 Hours. And the top IMSA runner of the season was Ben Barnicoat. He ends up 7th, the Lexus driver from the GTD Pro category. Christopher Meese got a couple of good results under his belt at Adelaide at the beginning of December as the Australian GT Challenge Championship supported the V8 Supercars at the Velo Adelaide 500. So he is 8th, got a race win of one of the 3 races down there, and he jumped ahead of Maurer Engel and Lucas Stoltz. So they're the top 10, a good chunk of European names. We're going to shake it up for 2023 with the introduction of the GTP cars in IMSA and in the WEC. Much more focus is going to be on that, and we'll have a different point scoring system as we head into 2023 to bring it more in line with the grid ranking and our traditional point score there. That comes live at the beginning of April, and so does the Grid EPI. So we've got A couple of months to get some races on the scoreboard. It all starts in a couple of weeks in Dubai with the Hankook 24 Hours. That's on the 14th of January, same weekend as Formula E gets underway in Mexico. So busy weekend there. More scoring opportunities for drivers over the first quarter. Let's give you some of the key dates other than the Hankook 24 Hours. It's the Rolex 24 Hours at Daytona at the end of January, January 29th. That's a big one, and we'll see the GTP cars in action for the first time around the high banks of Daytona. A week later, it's one of the second big event, second of my favourite events for the year, really, after Daytona with the Rolex. It's the Bathurst 12 Hours on February 5th, back in its traditional slot and back with a big influx of European names and brands as well. It's going to be a cracker at the mountain in the first weekend of February. After that, we've got 4 races from the Asian Le Mans Series, 2 at Dubai and 2 at Abu Dhabi, all 4-hour races. That's the whole championship wrapped up in 2 weekends, 4 races worth. So there'll be big point scoring opportunities early in the EPI 2023. And then into March, a big weekend at Sebring. The World Endurance Championship gets underway on the Friday afternoon, of course, and then the Sebring 12 Hours on the Saturday. Also on that weekend is the first round of the Nürburgring Landstrecke Series in Germany. So we will get to the beginning of April with a lot of races under our belt, big ones as well. We'll give you the first EPI update as we get heading towards Easter weekend. The Easter weekend will be our first EPI update to bring you on Grid Tonight later on in the year. So we'll check in then. And before I go though, as part of the rally team here at the Grid Network, I want to pass on my condolences to the Block family after the news we heard this week. Been mentioned on the show already, and to Ken and the family and everybody involved with the Hoonigan Racing team. That tragic news that came across the wires on Monday. Send my condolences out to the Block family. What an absolute hero he was, and those Gymkhana videos will live long in the memory. We'll be back to give you that EPI update in April. May even pop up at the weekend at some point between now and then here on the Grid Network.
Thanks, Matt. And we'll be sure to cover the tragic passing of Ken Block in just a little moment. And before we go on to the next day, I want to catch up a little bit on the chat room from Dimas saying, hey, yo, what's up, guys? Hey, Dimas, really glad you're here watching us tonight. And happy New Year to you as well. And we got Joe saying hello to Dimas there. And next, we're going to share some more news from around the motorsports world. Grove Racing will make its return to the Liqui Moly Bathurst 12 Hour in early February, fielding a Porsche 911 GT3R in the Pro-Am class. Stephen and Brennan Grove will be joined by Repco Supercars Championship star Anton De Pasquale, who will also be a part of the driver lineup for the Dubai 24 Hour before tackling Mount Panorama. De Pasquale will also join the Groves in Dubai alongside Earl Bamber to complete the driver lineup for the 24-hour event. Brennan Grove believes Dubai will be a good preparation for them to get ready for the challenge of taming the mountain. Jordan Anderson Racing will expand and run 2 cars full-time in the 2023 NASCAR Xfinity Series season. After impressing a lot of people in select Xfinity starts last year, Parker Retzloff will drive the number 31 Chevrolet Camaro full-time, moving over from Our Motorsports using the same number 27 Chevrolet. Jeb Burden will be Retzloff's teammate. At this time, there's no word on Mike Snyder's plans for 2023. Graphic courtesy of Jordan Anderson Racing. And before we end our show tonight, as I just said, we want to acknowledge the tragic passing of rally driver, entrepreneur, and action sports star Ken Block at age 55. And in this statement right here from the Wasatch County Sheriff's Office, they said on January 2nd, 2023, at approximately 2 o'clock p.m., the Wasatch County 911 Center received a call reporting a snowmobile accident in the Mill Hollow area. Search and rescue, along with law enforcement from Wasatch County Sheriff's Office, Utah State Parks, and the U.S. Forest Service responded. The driver, Kenneth Block, 55-year-old male out of Park City, Utah, was riding a snowmobile on a steep slope when the snowmobile upended, landing on top of him. He was pronounced deceased at the scene from injuries sustained in the accident. Mr. Block was riding with a group, but was alone when the accident occurred. The state medical examiner's office will determine the official cause of death. We are saddened to hear the loss of Kenneth, and our hearts are with his family and friends so deeply affected. We thank all of our first responders for their continued service. And a statement right here from Block's Hoonigan Industries Company. They said it's with our deepest regrets that we can confirm that Ken Block passed away in a snowmobile accident today. Ken was visionary, a pioneer, and an icon, and most importantly, a father and husband. He will be incredibly missed. Please respect the family's privacy at this time while they grieve. And so Ken Block was a brilliant mind, well ahead of his time, who combined fashion, marketing, and a thrill of motorsports to share it with the world. He loved having fun, whether it was rally racing, drifting, or action sports such as skateboarding, motocross, and snowboarding. He competed in rally races and championships like FI World Rallycross, Global Rallycross, Rally America, and World Rally Championship. Block made a huge splash in action sports, becoming an X Games legend and co-founding DC Shoes, a footwear company specializing in making comfortable shoes for people who participate in high-risk action sports. After he left DC Shoes, Block focused on his Hoonigan Industries brand and apparel and media production company that focused on the demographic of young people interested in just simple car culture. Block's popularity really took off in 2008 when he posted a series of 10 Gymkhana videos on YouTube, and it went viral. He was well known beyond racing and the action sports world. People knew him on a widespread level because he was just simply a really, really cool guy who loved doing cool things, which wowed many all over the world and convinced a lot of others to get a taste of the same adrenaline rush that he always got participating in all of these wonderful, fun events. And now looking at some of the response from the world, you see right here, one of the companies they co-founded, DC Shoes, said, "We lost our hero yesterday. There is nobody like Ken Block. Our hearts and prayers are with Ken's family and the many people in the global DC tribe whose lives he touched for nearly 3 decades. We cannot overstate his impact or what a devastating loss this is." And right here from FI World Rallycross Championship, the World RX family is saddened to learn of the passing of Ken Block. His loss leaves a huge hole in our sport, but his legacy as a visionary and inspiration to millions around the world will live long. We extend our sincere condolences to his wife, Lucy, and children. Rest in peace, Ken. And now, right here from Sebastian Auger, he said, "Such sad news. Ken was visionary, so passionate and inspiring. He knew like no other how to combine motorsport and a big show. He lived his life to the fullest, and I'll never forget his smiling laugh. Sending my thoughts and supports to his family and friends." And Jensen Button says he was in shock at the passing of Ken Block, such a talent that did so much for our sport. He was a true visionary with his own unique style and infectious smile. Our sport lost one of the best today, but more importantly, a great man. Sending love and hugs to the Block family. Hashtag rest in peace, Ken. And then right here from Travis Pastrana, Ken was a lot of things to a lot of people, but first and foremost, he was an amazing family man. And all the times I've seen him on top of the podium, I've never seen Ken as genuinely happy and proud as he was this year, rallying alongside his wife and oldest daughter. Ken was the heart of rally in the United States. The impact he had and will continue to have on our sport is larger than life. To me, Ken was a friend, a rival, a mentor, a boss, a business partner, and a fellow family man who was more proud of showing me pictures of his kids go-karting than he was of himself doing a world's first in one of the many coolest cars known to man that he regularly drove the wheels off. Ken lived his life to the fullest, cut too short like so many of the greats before him. Rest in peace, buddy. You will never be forgotten. And as you can see, Ken Block was respected and loved in so many circles. We extend our deepest condolences to the Block family during this difficult time, and may his memory be a blessing.
Absolutely wonderful tribute there, Kobe, as well. I was watching all those tributes on the screen above me, and it looks absolutely heartbreaking as well. Woke up and literally the first thing I saw on my phone was Ken Block dead, and I was like, nah, that can't be right as well. And then I woke up and properly after being groggy and thought, oh, that is just ridiculous. It's such a tragedy as well, and a great driver as well. And then I saw James May, of course, because Ken Block was a regular on Top Gear over here in the UK and around the world when it became famous as well. And he did that fantastic segment as well where he raced, I think it was an airplane in his rally car. He jumped over, and there's this wonderful shot. Ken is just ice cold, just going straight through, focusing on where to put the car, after the jump. And James May's just there, eyes wide, mouth open, looking in shock. Absolutely fantastic. And what a cool guy as well. It's a shame he's gone. And Adam says, I remember Ken Block from the X Games and those. You're going to have to help me with that one. Is that Jim Cannon? Jim Cannon videos, of course, yeah. I had to take a double look at that. That's fantastic. But yeah, absolutely agree with you as well. It's an absolute heartbreak there as well. And hopefully we won't have to do too many of those tributes in 2023. We want it to be a nice, calm year full of action and excitement as well. And quickly, Dismaster says, do you know 2023 IMSA sports car to race at Indianapolis Motor Speedway? We did cover that, I believe, didn't we, Kobe, just before the Christmas break, that Indianapolis is now taking over with IMSA. I think it's for, is it a 9-hour race, if I remember correctly?
No. I think you might be good. I think you might be confused with the intercontinental GT thing that's at Indy, but this is completely separate. Yeah, IMSA is returning to Indianapolis Motor Speedway on the road course for the Battle of the Bricks. It's just going to be a sprint race this year in 2023, but after that, it looks like it's going to become an endurance race on a part of the Michelin Endurance Cup that already has 4 races: the Rolex 24, 12 hours of Sebring, 6 hours of Watkins Glen, and then the Petit Le Mans, the 10-hour race at Road Atlanta at the end of the year. So I'm wondering, are they going to add this as a 5th Michelin endurance race, or are we going to see them like swap out Watkins Glen or something like that? Because I know these budgets, to run the endurance race is quite expensive, with the full season, all that. That's why we only see some teams only commit to the long endurance races, and the budget to run the 4 we have right now, it's quite a bit. And then you add in another endurance race with Indy. I wonder if that will, they'll probably make it go even higher.
Could do. I personally would like them to try and keep it like something snappy to keep on the Indy 500 bandwagon. So maybe the Indy 5-hour, something like that, just so it rolls off the tongue nice. We'll keep an eye on that as well. Interesting. I've just received some messaging about possibilities of news coming out that we'll have to say for next week's show about Andretti. So that's good news. But I can't say anything because it's not confirmed yet. But taking a look at our upcoming schedule as well in the coming week. Friday, Women in Motorsports, a review of the 2022 season and a 2023 season preview as well for female racing drivers to pay attention to from around the world. Next Wednesday, Grid Tonight for the latest news in motorsport as well. And following that as well, on Saturday, I believe at 2 o'clock GMT. So that would be slightly earlier for you over there in America. We've got our Grid Live pre-race show for the ABB FIA Formula E Championship Season 9 opener in Mexico City as well. So that's just before the start of qualifying, if that helps you. So just after practice 2, before qualifying, there's a nice little gap there as well. So that's it. First show of the year done as well. Please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. Help us to get to 500 subscribers before the Daytona 500. We are very, very close to both the Daytona 500 and 500 subscribers. So every subscriber matters. Don't forget to hit the bell icon as well to get notifications for all our social medias as well. You follow all of them and visit gridranking.com for all our latest news. Also, take 5 minutes to invest in the Grid Network through Patreon. Join Colin, Mark, and Deshelle and Robin, who have been investing with us each month and keeping the Grid Network on the air. Once we hit $500 per month, we'll begin sending members of our team to the track more consistently for live reporting from track and more content. Link is in the video description. And if you want to do a one-time donation as well, click on the Buy Me a Coffee link, get your name on the board, and invest as much as you want. You can even buy a specific on-air personality a cup of coffee, and they'll thank you on the air as well. If you've missed it over the holiday break, check out the latest episode of Life on the Grid. Kobe and Ben sat down with USF Pro 2000 driver Miles Rowe, who discussed his journey on the road to Indy and passions off the track. Link is in the video description below as well. And for the first time this year, we've done it. Show is over for Kobe Lambeth at the podium finish. I'm Joshua Birch. Thank you very much for watching. A happy new year, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for watching us right here on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe. Help us get to 500 subscribers before the Daytona 500. 2023 is going to be a really fun season. We want you to be part of it. All our live programs, plus special programs such as Roundtable and Live on the Grid. Click on the links to see some of our great videos right here on the Grid Network.